Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League Season 11, Week 12. My name's NightFiree with two E's. I'm joined by my co-caster, Theta, and we are bringing you a top-tier NA battle, Hell from Above versus Kai. Worldwide, I think it's ranked 12 versus ranked 14th, and so definitely a lot to be gained here, Theta, and I kind of want to get your impressions on this matchup before we dive into the pick bands.
Well, I think the overarching storyline here is it's a battle between the old school and the new school. Kai, just as a unit's been around for a while, mostly made up of players that have been around for many, many seasons, whereas Hell from Above, this is their very first season, and they are, I'm looking at the standings right now, they are already Diamond, and they are number 14 in the world, and Kai is actually below them right now at number 16 in the world.
Okay. I was two off. Rank 14 and 16. I said 12 and 14. But yeah, it's when we talk about the ladder and everything, you have to get up into the top 7 to be comfortable and moving on to the championship. That 8th position doesn't mean anything because you're still going to have to battle out for the Challenger Cup, most likely. I believe that's the format we're going to be going with this season. So you got to be in the top 7 to be moving on comfortably. Otherwise, you have yourself a long weekend of games in order to move on and get that 8th spot secure. And so teams now that are anywhere below top 7 are competitively vying for points, and it's tight. I mean, there's a lot of teams in the 1250 MMR region. They're very close.
And I don't know if there's been any talk about altering the number of slots, but if we are going to go with that top 7 format, then the Challenger Cup is going to be a straight up bloodbath because there are so many teams in the league now.
Yep.
I don't even know. I'd have to like scroll all the way down, but I mean, we have more teams than we've ever had before. That is going to be an intense Challenger Cup, to say the least.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, everything is going to be the most competitive it's been. You know, the top 7 is going to be insane. It's going to be the most intense top 7, I think, that we've seen in all of the Onward seasons, and I am really excited to see what we get with what teams pick, what they ban, what kind of strategies we get. Are we going to see new strats that have been specifically reserved for tournament time? I mean, I'm really looking forward to those postseason matchups, but we're not there yet. We still got a couple of weeks out before we hit that postseason time, and so we still got regular season matchups here, and this is certainly going to be a good regular season matchup. Like you said, both these teams close in rank, and I want to take a look at the pick bands for today. Coming in from Hell from Above, we have the Quarantine ban, and over from Kai we have the Subway ban. That leaves USS Quest, the custom map, on the table, and also a lot of range like Downfall and Snow Peak, and that is where we're headed for map 1. And Theta, I want to get your thoughts on the bans and the map pick for today. Is this a strength ban? What's the situation here?
I'm not entirely sure what the thinking is behind Hell from Above's ban because they have a 50% win rate on it, but Kai also has a 52% win rate, so pretty close. I think it's more likely to be a ban from weakness, and I think a lot of teams are also trying to stay away from Quarantine late in the season because there's something like 14 objectives.
Yeah.
And it's just the variability is so intense that a lot of teams just don't want to take the risk of throwing the dice on a tough objective when there's, like you said, we're this close to the end of the season and the championship.
Yeah, it's it has, I think it's got to have the most objectives per map out of any map. I can't think of one that would have more. I don't even think Downfall has that many.
No.
So
it is by far the most objective-rich map we have.
Maybe that's why I like it so much, casting it, because you never know what you're going to get. There's so much variety to it. It feels like every time you cast Quarantine, it's different. And I guess to your point, that's not what some players want. They want a little consistency in their map picks. So off the table and Subway off the table. Subway has been interesting to watch lately. There's been a lot of new strats coming out on Subway, and I don't know what the trigger has been for it. There hasn't really been a change on the map.
Yeah, I think in this particular case, Kai is banning it because it's HFA's favorite map. Now, I always personally draw a distinction between favorite and best because they have a 60% win rate on it, which is not insane, but they have picked it in almost every match they've played in. So I think it's more like they just don't want them to play on a map where they think they're comfortable, and they want to put them in situations where they have to maybe adapt a little bit more. Because whether they have a high win rate on it or not, they're going to be familiar with that map, and you want to take them to places where they aren't maybe as well practiced.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this Snow Peak map. I'm looking at the active rosters here. We're still waiting on the 5th from HFA. But over on Kai, we have Bass, Slappa, Engage, Etch, Phonic, and Rob. And I'm sure I'm going to be switching between Bass and Bass. It's really just kind of like a how I feel sort of moment. So expect that. But that's the standard roster for Kai. And how have they been playing lately, Theta? I haven't really been feeling like we've been following Kai a lot on the casts. Even though Etch is a fellow caster, just did a great job on this afternoon's Venues cast, actually. So shout out to him. But are they? How's their end of the season going?
Right now, they are on a losing streak, believe it or not. They've lost to Error 404, Dark Matter, and Dead Logic. Their last win was against Ember back in, let's see, the end of June. So, yeah, 4 weeks ago. And, yeah, actually, no, they had a Button Cup and a Challenger match, so it wasn't 4 weeks ago. Apologies, a few weeks ago. But anyway, bottom line is they've lost the last 3 matches against very, very good teams. I have to always add that. When you're playing at this level, nobody is bad, and losing never has any shame attached to it because everybody is just fantastic. But yeah, I think it's just been a little rough for them in this last stretch. They had a really good stretch before that. I think it just happens to everybody. You go through these little slumps. There's no real avoiding it. It's just a matter of whether you can bounce back. So I would expect that they're going to come into this hoping to break that and fighting maybe harder than they have in the last week or so.
Yeah, I think a good example is is to look at Mayhem. You know, they've had a tough bout themselves. You know, they've had a tough couple of games lately, and it's put them down in a rank that really they haven't been at all season. You know, they haven't been down overall worldwide, at least in the 12. I think they're 12th worldwide right now. They haven't been down that low in a long time. They've been a team that's been dominating the top tier of Onward for a couple seasons, and it's interesting to just, again, see all these new teams come in, these fresh players come in and change up how competitive this top 20 has been. And, I mean, Kai and Hell From Above are teams that can certainly compete in that top 7, to the point of Kai facing really good teams. Those matchups, yeah, it comes down to, do you get lucky with execution sometimes? And so it's interesting to watch, and it's exciting to see, and it's fun to watch old teams adapt as well. And hopefully Hell From Above gets their 5th in here, and we don't have to start off 4v5. They still have, I think, 5 more minutes before that happens. But yeah, this should be a pretty solid bit of back and forth if Hell From Above has their active 5-man roster. You know, they can dip into that reservist pool, but at this stage, that's pretty much the last thing you want to have to do this late in the season.
No doubt about it. And just to kind of illuminate the point that you were talking about before, if you look at a score line for a team at this level, even if it looks like potentially a blowout or something, in many cases, you're talking about rounds that were shifted by maybe 1 or 2 kills. Or like one spot wasn't watched carefully enough and it opened up a cap, and then there was just a cascade from there. So, yeah, I think every major team goes through periods like this, like I was saying before, where you're going to drop a few games, you're going to drop a few rankings, and then it's just a matter of, are you going to recompose yourself and come back stronger, or are you going to continue falling down? And the best teams, in my experience, always rebound eventually.
Yeah. You learn from your experience, you watch back the footage and try and improve. And we'll see if Kai can pop out of this slump that they found themselves in and start that climb back up the ladder. We do have all 5 in from Hell From Above. Sin of Russia and Shot in Frame filling out that team. So it will be Havoc, Doc9, Dallas, Shot in Frame, and Sin of Russia. And well, Theta, we've bought enough time, and I think we've also bought ourselves a little bit of a rest. Let's listen into the comms for the start of this round 1.
Hopefully it's not southwest. Kill, kill.
Kill, kill, kill. The white man.
Yeah, if you push bunker, I'll push left and like just hold.
Who did I just hear? Okay, that's an
I always find it interesting when teams still are like hashing out the strategies as they push Theta, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that. Is that just the nature of not knowing where you'll spawn?
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes this game so challenging is you don't know where you're going to spawn, at least on offense, on most of these maps. So you have to have multiple strategies in mind, which it lends itself to kind of a fluid style of gameplay. You really can't be too rigid. It's not like playing football or something where you know where everybody's going to line up and you can kind of assign people to go to every single spot. And so you kind of have to have this playbook in the back of your head of like, all right, if we spawn here, we go here, and so on and so forth. And there's lots of improvisation there. Like right now, I see Dalish. He's over in this south base, kind of acting as the lurk, coming around to the south. And it looks like the bulk of the team is coming through the opposite direction, somewhere through the north. 2 going through the garage area, 2 coming up through that kind of northern shack. And this is going to be the feeling out process.
Yeah, I've seen different attacks, and I feel like the setup that we're seeing here is pretty standard. That's you invest 1 over in that garage, like you said. You have all these different angles covered, and it ultimately leaves the immediate objective defense kind of weak. And I feel like I've seen really successful pushes of full teams applied up through the center, not so often up through where they are trying to navigate now. You have Havoc working his way through tunnels, but also Sin of Russia. Yeah, they're getting danger close to base.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't mean to interrupt, but Base Slappa and Shot and Frame and Sin of Russia are about to run into each other in this garage. Ooh, and Sin of Russia coming around the edge. Base Slappa's laser just right where that... Oh, the one spot he's not going to see it. Oh, that is unfortunate for Base.
Well,
oh, but Shot and Frame's about to walk right in front of him.
Knife. Look at the patience.
He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it.
I think he did see Base. He did see Sin. Base did ID Sin of Russia on that cross and didn't take the shots.
Wow.
So he did see it,
what
but
a
he didn't
disciplined
shoot.
play.
Yeah, I love that.
That's high-level play right there, ladies
1.
and gentlemen. And now it's all up to Havoc coming in from the... What is that? The tunnels from the north side.
You'll love to see that, expecting the duo to be there, and if it wasn't, he would eventually push out to get that kill. A nice timed play from him, and Kai looking to come out strong with 5 still alive on defense. Havoc has a tall order in front of him, knows where Etch is, and, you know, if he can't kill Etch, you know, the rest of Kai is still alive and can rotate, but they will have to rotate, so maybe a path for Havoc to do some damage, but definitely a tall order.
No doubt about it. And he's only got 1 minute and 25 seconds, too. So that's going to make things even more challenging.
Coming from north, where I am.
Yeah, if he had a few more minutes on the clock, he might be able to do some rotations, get a couple of picks, and get them to panic a little bit. But with 1 minute or so left, he's going to have to just pick a route and hope for the best.
Yeah, he's really going to have to commit hard to it, too. I don't know if he's aware of the time, either. He will be soon enough. That timer will beep at 30 seconds. His watch on his wrist, the timer. His watch. I guess you could call it a timer.
About to hit that 30-second mark. And I think, yeah, he's about to get that beep. There it is. And now he's trying to get a breach on the north side. Etch, I think Etch heard him because he just stood up. Yeah, he heard him for sure. There it is.
And I mean, if that isn't a perfect example of patience on defense paying off, I don't know what is. All 3 of those final kills coming through by just waiting out the push.
Yep. Yeah, that play by base was really something else to watch. Like you said, I thought he had missed it, but no, he was sitting there waiting for the other person. He must have known that they like to travel in packs through that area, and he waits for them to get into perfect kill zone and takes them both out. Very nice play.
That's the kind of high-level stuff you expect out of the top 20. And like you said, if we we have that, it's only the top 7 that can move on in this season. It's going to be just crazy competitive all the way down. Regardless, the 10 to 20 would still be insanely competitive. You know, whatever, wherever you cut it off, anywhere in the top 20, it's going to be exciting to watch. And yeah, I'm very much, again, whatever the format is, just looking forward to the postseason, because this is just a taste of what you can expect. Just really competitive plays. I want to see how Kai attacks now. You know, maybe Hell from Above can answer back in kind, right? With a 5 alive defense, it's not impossible to hold this OBJ, and we'll see what their setup looks like. But taking that full minute and a half to strategize.
No doubt about it. And just to, again, kind of elaborate on what you were saying with the top 15 in this game, it used to be, and I know you remember this, it used to be basically the top 3 to top 5 and everybody else. It was kind of like you just had these elite units at the very top, and then everybody else was just 4 or 5 levels below them. But that is not the case anymore. Now it is a murderer's row in the top 15, and breaking into that is hard. Harder than it's ever been. So
yeah,
there's going to be some stiff competition in that Challenger Cup this season.
Yeah, it's looking forward to it, to say the least. It'll be super exciting to watch those matchups, and I'll obviously be doing my best to cover the action. We'll try and get the casting team on it, but so many people on the casting team are playing in those squads that would be at that competitive level, so we'll see. But the worst case is you'll have me. Into the action. Map number 1, still fresh.
I'm gonna just, I'll take this southern pass right here.
Tune into the comms here and listen in from Hell from Above.
You're good. I'll try to double all
This
those
is gonna
too.
be a dangerous spot right here. A few smokes right here is gonna fuck us. So I'm gonna be.
The objective for this one is, it's really hard to defend. So the fact that Kai won that first round on defense, that gives them quite a bit of momentum for this map.
Yeah.
Most teams struggle to defend this one. Yeah, it looks like we have a mirrored spawn, though, the north base spawn.
Very different approach, though. No investment in that wide swing. Like I mentioned, I just don't know if you ever really need to get control of the garage on a proper push. You can see everyone committing here to crossing the lake.
That is so interesting. I don't know if I've seen a team play this like this. Like, they held Engage back just to watch over the lake in case, I'm assuming there's a flanker or something like that. But yeah, everybody's just occupying space around the lake at the moment.
And you know, it's one thing that's interesting about Snow Peak is the terrain and how it's lined up. There's lots of little defilades and pockets to kind of crouch around and avoid, and angles that you think would be sure kills are really actually not, because they can't even see each other because there's a little slope there.
Yeah, it totally changes the dynamic of both offense and defense on this map. You know, you have to have a different orientation about your angles and think a little bit differently about how you move around these spaces, too.
Yeah, and again, Rob's position, just a prime example of exactly what you're talking about, where you can get up a little bit onto that hill and just have a slightly elevated angle. You can now duck behind this defilade and pop up anywhere. Just a lot of variety to how he peeks this and gets information. Where's the rest of the team? There they are. Phonic and Gage. And look at that. That's what I was talking about. Everybody's stacked up to the middle and south. And this is where they're going to apply the pressure.
Yeah, it looks like they've made a conscious decision to just let them take the garage side. They're just not going to really bother with the east side of the objective. It looks like Havoc just took out Engage, and Wookiee Oreo got down, but Doc 9 gets the revive, so now 4v5 in favor of Hell from Above.
We got smokes on Southern Valley. This little eastern one right here.
It's not a bad plan, I have to say, because if you just let them have the east side, that defender is so far off of objective, you can actually swarm it and potentially get a cap before they can get back.
Yeah, and so many teams invest in that east defense. Surprised to not see the rotation come through yet. Base finds one, and nobody has pushed in to defend. Or at least from that east side, they're still holding down. Havoc, really the only one to go up against a 1v3 situation here, is getting able to pick up Phonic. He's gonna have to swing now to the other side. He does have reinforcements. Dallas there on the back end, actually able to cover. Doesn't have to rotate and gets a long range pick.
And Etch needs to make a move here and get the revive, or at least put down enough cover fire. Oh, I was going to say, because the smoke's about to go out, but then he throws another one. Oh, Havoc's coming around for the backside flank, though. Etch is not going to be ready for this. Oh, instead Dallas gets him from the front.
And, you know, that I guess, again, that's kind of the fine line you have to draw, right? If you do swing wide east, you are exposed to the angle all the way from garage. If they had gone, they were thinking about going up the middle there for a while, but they didn't commit to pushing up through that center because they saw someone at bunker up at that sandberg, and they didn't get that pick. If they'd gotten that pick early when they were making their rotation into the south, I think that is a real potential for a cap there from them, but just a solid defense to come in from Hell from Above. 4 left alive there, so very much akin to Kai's defensive hold there. And, well, maybe that's what we're going to be in for, is a trading of bulk rounds today.
Maybe. And for larger maps like this, that's not unusual. Although Snow Peak is sort of unique in the sense that you have such a wide range of different play styles available. There are some objectives on this map which are not ranged at all. But we are on another ranged objective in this case with the North Hangar.
Get those predictions out. Folks thirsty to get their points wagered. But yeah, the thing I like most about Snow Peak, I think, is that you do have this variety in objectives. We've gotten 2 outside OBJs, and so they are, you know, catering a little bit to that range, but it means that we're guaranteed to go inside. Well, I guess we still have 1 more outside objective, but the odds of us going inside increase substantially, and those indoor objectives, they can lean to a completely different playstyle, and maybe Hell from Above will find better success there.
Maybe. Yeah, certainly a possibility. We just had a round reset, I believe, from Kai's side. Maybe there are some technical difficulties. Not sure.
Well, one thing we didn't point out is that Wookiee Oreo got brought in after the first round. He subbed in, I don't remember who it was, but
Sin of Russia.
Yeah, Sin of Russia. Right after that first round, so Maybe also we'll see a bit of a different HFA offense. You know, maybe that was with Wookiee on the back into the team, the original 5 they had intended for tonight, and who knows? You know, I don't know. They certainly played a little better there, obviously on defense, and I'm curious to see what they bring to the attack. Both, I mean, I don't know. This is gonna be a fun match to watch, man. Both teams are very capable of putting up a good offensive push.
That's personally what I love to watch, is just teams that can execute offense, because defense is always going to be a little bit easier to think about. You can just kind of have static ideas about where people should be positioned and the angles and all that, but where you really see creativity and innovation is in the offensive side of things in most cases. And I think especially with younger teams, or I should say newer teams like Hell From Above, you get to see some really exciting, spicy plays on offense.
Such a quick spawn from HFA here out the gate. Dalish already putting shots out on their rotation. Shot trying to take the short route. Rob finds Havoc pushing in. Kind of giving away their spawn. Does make it hard to get out. And they have so much ground to cross that's open and exposed.
I was a little surprised they decided to just open fire that early, because on this particular objective in this spawn, you want some concealment on that. But I guess they're electing to say that they are confident about this and they're not worried about it. And as I say that, base takes out shot and frame.
They're looking for more. Peeking that same angle, and yeah, not going to challenge base again. Well, maybe they will. Dalish. Or what the decision making is going to be here. Either way, they're pitched in. Rob and several other angles watching here. Dalish, if he pushes out here, he's going to have to face Rob, and down he goes. Kai off to a great defense here on round 3.
We're just about to hit the 3.5-minute mark, and it's already 2.5 v5. And as I say that, Doc9 takes out Rob, so now it's 2.5 v4. They do have enough time to bring this back, especially if they go get that revive. And Dalish is out in a spot where a revive is safe, as long as they go towards a route that does not expose them to all the defenders, which should be fairly easy at this point. They can get that revive, and that would make it much more winnable as a 3v4.
Pinned, though, and he has PKM, and he's just.
Don't you have smokes?
Dalis, I have smokes, but it's not worth it. Dalis, I don't know if this revive's going to be possible. It's going to be.
It's kind of interesting to listen to the comms. They're
You gotta go now, bro. You gotta go now.
explaining exactly what you're talking about. They have to get the res, but to get it is such a task. They're being suppressed so heavily. Doc9 doesn't think that he can go. He's gonna do it. He shifts out. The bullets just miss behind him to see those shots pinging. Just a touch behind, and he is short on time. He doesn't have a lot left to get Dalish here.
No doubt about it. And that was a risk he had to take. You can't just sit there and get pelted by a defensive fire. You have to make that choice to go out and get the revive. He didn't really have a better option at that point. But now he's running much lower on time. And now, of course, they're watching that north passageway, too. So he needs to just stay low under this berm. I'm surprised he's trying to engage them now. He really needs to go for that revive more than anything.
I'm running. God, come on, run.
And
Thanks,
there
Roddy.
it is.
Into the 3v4 they go.
Down his body.
What is the plan to get up there, though? They've still got one. Well, Wookiee actually has managed to rotate, and they are closing the gap, but engaged picks off Wookiee, so the res does keep it at least to 2, but they are back down to 2, and this is not going to be an easy entryway through here.
Wow, now it's 2v3. The defenders really just need to hide at this point and force them out in the open. They have no reason to be engaging them from here. And Phonic in a great position to catch Dalish or anybody else who runs by. People play that shack quite a bit, but they don't play it like this very often. And there it is. Kai goes up 2-1.
It's a solid bit of play there coming in from Kai. Good hold, like you said. They played it patient. They didn't overcommit. He stayed tucked into that dark corner, and that is what wraps up the round. Oh, whoops. Like the replay not capturing there, so apologies on that. I'll hit you with a triple transition into the waiting room for our next round, but if you're Kai, you gotta be feeling pretty good right now. I mean, hey, they've been playing competitively. Again, we could just be trading Volk rounds here. It's gonna come down to how Kai execute this push. I don't think I've ever seen a cap on this objective either, so I don't even know if that's something that's on the mind right now.
I will say I've only really seen caps happen. It's not terribly common just because you have to cross so much open space, but sometimes people can come in on that western kind of lake entrance next to the tower and then get in through those back doors. I've seen a couple of caps happen that way, but as long as you reinforce that beach landing, it's pretty hard to cap on this objective. So if I was in HFA's position, personally, I would be thinking, let's reinforce that side, make sure they can't get in through the lake behind us. Should be able to lock this down for a defensive win.
Shout out to Messino for that Twitch Prime subscription. We do appreciate all the support that the community has shown us, all the new follows that have come in. We blasted over 3,000 followers yesterday, and well, we keep on climbing on to 3,100. Hoochie also coming in with the 22 months. That's insane. I think, yeah, it's almost 2 years of subbing.
Wow.
Subbing. That's crazy, Hooch. Really appreciate that constant support. And again, all that support comes back to the casting and production team that bring you all of this, and we really do appreciate that. On to the next round, though. See how Kai attack and how Hell from above defend. Havoc tucking in to that dark corner.
Yeah, so pretty even spread on the defense. 2 in the north, 1 in the hangar itself, and then 2 reinforcing on that east side. Should be enough to stop anybody coming up onto the beach as long as they don't get too peaky. And let's see, Kai is coming from... Yeah, they started in the south, but they're moving up. Looks like they're going to go the long way with 3.
Yeah. It is the right choice. If you look at that defensive setup, they are kind of weak on their angles to that north lane. You know, if they really committed to a farther north lane push, there's some potential there to kind of creep up on them.
No doubt. And Doc 9 taking some shots across the lake. This is a pretty dangerous peak in my experience. Your head's showing, and they have plenty of cover to counter you. But maybe he'll get some shots off and make a difference here. I don't know.
Oh, you got shot. Oh, that's not good.
Baelish is res there, but they get picked off from that defensive position, so he tucks back in, and yeah, again, they get even weaker, if anything, on that north setup.
What's really dangerous about those 2 shacks that Havoc and Dallas are into is that they're penetrable, and a lot of teams will just show up and pre-fire those just on principle alone. So yeah, you're right. They're not watching the north at all. Really, they've got Shot and Frame kind of in a position to watch the north if he wants to, but they could lose 2 people kind of arbitrarily just by hanging out in those sheds. We'll see if Kai gets close enough to make them pay for that decision.
Well, to your point of shooting into these sheds, here you go. Rounds coming through, and you can see how penetrable they are as they go through the metal and bounce off of the snow. Havoc fortunate that he tucked in behind those sandbags, because those are not penetrable.
Yeah, it's a pretty smart strategy on Kai's part, because they're just taking shots onto those sheds from places where they know they're safe.
Yep.
So even if there's somebody in there to fire back, they don't really have a chance.
Yeah.
Also seems like there's a syringe that just got used, so these guys are taking damage now inside those sheds.
He's not the guy shooting at me.
And this is the putting a fine button on your point. Kai communicating that engage although being shot at, is shooting at somebody that's not shooting at him. So the angle here that he has set up is nice, and yeah, it's just there's nothing they can do about it for now. Etch looking for the refrag onto the shooter towards Engage, but if they just keep drawing attention, eventually this swing over here in the north will pay off.
And Doc 9 just broadcasting his position to the offense at the moment. And here we go, more shots coming in. This time Phonic putting rounds. Can't quite tell exactly what he's shooting at.
Yeah. Can't tell what base is shooting at. Takes out one. Rob throwing in the smoke space, following that up. And they're starting to collapse in. Doc 9 getting suppressed through. Havoc and Dalish still alive in these penetrable buildings and shot in frame, playing it patiently to watch the north side. Base is going to swing out. Havoc getting a little bit peaky, and that's a risk that he's taking there. Surprised he's not being suppressed from Engage, and actually it's because Engage was down there as he tried to get a different angle, so Havoc able to peek out, find those kills. The push continues. Rob comes charging in. He sacrifices himself for the trade. Dalish relocates two smokes back to Phonic, and the Kai push being disrupted.
And 30 seconds left. They really need to make something happen now. Ooh, Etch gets Doc 9. Now 2v3 in favor of Kai, but 20 seconds left.
Got another one.
Yeah, they're too far away.
Yep, this is going to be a hell from above win. They just don't have the time.
Etch Engage trying to crash in, but relying on their squad in the north to execute while they threw out suppressive fire, and squad in the north just got shut down. Great hold there from Havoc to peek and find that initial kill to disrupt the push. That kind of threw everything off. Rob had to sacrifice, so 2 for 1 there, and that was that. 2 out of 3 done in the north, and well, we're tied up now 2 apiece.
Yep. And now we start moving into the CQB objectives, which is a whole new ball game.
Completely different style of approach, different style of defense. C4 is going to be a key element here in how they hold, and yeah, this is one of 2 indoor objectives that they have here, so they only got 3 out of 3 objectives left, so very much leaning towards the close quarters, and I don't know, Cap's certainly viable on this OBJ if you get the right smokes out.
Yeah, a common play that you're seeing now, I think Ember is particularly good at this one that I've seen, is they throw out smokes and create sort of a lane through that big hallway right in front of the objective, and then they put a couple more on the north side of it. And so anybody that wants to get near the objective on defense has to literally run into the smoke. There is no other alternative. And for teams that are really good at it, they basically stage the smokes from the hallway, and then they just run out onto those boxes right on the objective, and within 2-3 seconds, it's a cap. It requires really good coordination, but these are the kinds of teams which I think have that kind of coordination, so we may very well see that kind of cap attempt.
And, you know, we talk about that minute-and-a-half timer. It's interesting. I mean, some teams really don't use that time to draw up strats on the board. They know where they want to go when the objective is picked out, but every round we've had that delay between rounds utilized by these teams, so they got to be feeling the pressure. To your point, Onward's sort of a fluid esport. You have to really be able to adapt and shift strategies based off your opponent and how they're playing and how you're playing, and so I think that's what they're doing in this downtime here. I can't imagine what else, but yeah, it's you know, the pressure is very much on these last few weeks of the season, and it's just so fun to see teams play when that pressure's on.
I love to see the way the teams react to this kind of pressure, because for some teams it truly brings out the best in them, and then some teams kind of crumble under that stress. And I love to see that dynamic. And even some teams that traditionally crumble, you suddenly see they've grown some new character and they show up and do something amazing. So that's, I think the surprise and kind of lack of predictability there is what makes watching these kinds of matches so much fun.
Might be over-regulation time here.
Certainly getting close to it.
Into the comms, the start of the round, listen in, see what Kai are thinking as they go into this close quarters defense.
Is this room right here? In this room right here. Okay,
Okay, what about anybody be coming in this way though?
Where do you want me at? Where do you want me? Patch. Where was that again?
you want me to stay over there? Base?
Yeah, because I'm gonna
This is south, right?
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a split on the offense. So 2 going through the garage, 3 going through the nearer tunnels, and Base Slappa ready to meet the unit of 3 that's about to run into the tunnels. Ooh, he just saw him but missed, and now they know a flanker is in their midst.
He's going to try and shift to the other tunnel and hunt for these kills, but to your point, they should be ready for this angle here. Dalish is going to peek up and over and just barely, yeah, ID's base able to get the kill. A nice pickup there. They're going to have to pinch him to get the kill on, and oh no, a team kill comes in from Shot in Frame as Havoc pops out. Unexpected shot, so on edge there because of Base rotating around here in the tunnels, ends up killing one of his own. So Base technically finding 2, actually 3 for 1 there on that defensive push, and with only Doc 9 left alive, Hell from Above have not had a successful entry here.
Yeah, this is just opposite day because Kai is having a lot of success on these really difficult to defend objectives. I hesitate to say they're going to have an advantage going into the next round, but you usually want to end this map, if you're going to end it on this objective, on offense, because it's such a close quarters objective and there's so much capability. Like, defending it and rotating correctly is just so hard. But it looks like right now they're putting themselves in a position to do just that, because 3v1, there's still 3 minutes left, so it's not the end of the world. It could potentially swing back, but this is a hard mission to accomplish.
The solo push-up. The odds of a trade, you know, especially in these close corners, push-outs, certainly high, and when you're the last one alive, it's not really an option to go for trade picks, and unless there's utility to be used, the push will be challenging. I do see a flash there. A well-placed flash could go a long way.
Yeah, the problem with the one-person approach on this objective is you've got to put yourself down some kind of bottleneck. You've got to go through one of these hallways, or you have to go through the tunnel itself. And either way, you end up in a straight line for at least some period of time. That makes defending it against one person pretty easy. Now, if you had even one more person to draw attention on the opposite side, that would be a much more winnable situation. But as a single person, this is tough.
The Hush with a minute 30 left. A lot of ground to cover. He'll run across a dead corpse. Maybe he'll utilize that utility, actually. Is there any even left? I don't think there is, unfortunately. Some drum mags. Or
Yeah,
a
drum
drum
mags
mag.
would be key right now.
Comes the flash. Ugh. A botched flash hits off the corner. Blinds himself and now doesn't have the utility to push out. That's probably the worst case scenario. Doc 9's gonna try and swing and commit to this, but Etch and Engage both able to dial in here. There's the trade. And with 2 left alive, Kai secure another Volk round, and we continue to send those back and forth. That'll work for Kai.
Yep, and now they go into match point on offense. Like you were saying before, we're just trading Volk rounds. We'll see if that trend continues. If they can break that trend, that's map for them. Otherwise, they're going to go into a 3-3 tiebreaker.
With this objective, it's certainly possible. You know, there's different spawns that you can get that do lead to a faster bit of a push, and you can really kind of catch the defense almost off guard if you apply the proper smokes and you get an early pick or two. But I suppose it could have gone that way for Hell from Above on offense as well. If they had not gotten killed from that early swing out, it could have been a much more successful entry from Marsoc.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And losing all those people in the hallway around base was really what turned the tide on that round. They'd even been talking about it in spawn, how they didn't want people pushing up on them. They were actually concerned about that. I think that's probably what drew that team kills. They were so concerned about a flanker doing that much damage. But they ended up losing 3 people pretty much right away. And you really need a large coordinated unit for this offensive attack to work. There are some objectives where 1 or 2 you'll be okay, but not on this one in most cases.
Kind of wonder if Hell from Above are going to feel confident enough to commit to any aggression on defense. It's a big risk to take to send one out into those tunnels like Kai did, and well, if they don't, I don't know if they even have time actually. With this spawn, can you even get to the tunnels before the Marsoc's there?
Let's see. Well, let's see. Kai has what I guess you consider the quick spawn for this.
Yeah.
And they are sending 4 in one direction.
Baelish is extending out a bit, but no one investing into a tunnel push. So Kai will have control of at least this entry point. Oh, and the C4 comes out. And I like Dalish's position. Look at where he's tucked in here, Theta. Just underneath this little bit of piping and blending in really nice. This is going to be a tough one for Engage to identify, or anyone to identify. I wonder if Dalish will be able to find more.
Yeah, if you look on camera too, I mean, that is a very, very compressed position. And he's got hittable objects all around him, too, like that little wheel. I know for a fact will absorb bullets, as will that pipe.
He pushes in, finds one. They actually smoke out Dalish's position. M203 smoke the main entry point on objective. Havoc luckily pushes in. Etch able to catch the refrag. Dalish pushes through the smoke, denying him vision, and actually relocates it to be a great defensive smoke, denying Etch the opportunity to continue his push.
Oh, wow, and a trade. Dalish and Phonic. So now 2v2. Potential map point. And it's all up to Etch and Rob now. When shot frame catches Rob. So now 2v1. He's down. Oh, there's the confirm. So now Etch has to make this up. He's got 2 minutes and 55 seconds. This is not easy.
I don't know. He picked up a nade, I think. So there is some utility to use, and he will be able to basically enter up to the objective uncontested. Doc 9 is holding on OBJ. Shot in frame is holding that long angle, but if Etch doesn't opt to go there, he might be able to nade Doc and then force the rotation. I don't know if a cap's on the table, but they don't even need a cap. He just needs to get these 2 kills.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the smarter move is to not worry about the cap at the moment. I don't know what kind of kill count he's going to have. It's probably not accurate because there was a trade between Phonic and Dalish, but yeah, getting the picks in this situation when it's potential map point is usually the better idea. Of course, if you have the opportunity to cap, take it, but don't take undue risks for that.
I don't think Etch expected to get here. I think he swung out there and was anticipating a fight, but found nothing, and now he's found himself in a spot with 1:37 left, and I'm not sure he knows what he wants to do. Doc 9 does peek. Etch finds the kill. A huge kill. Shot has to come out onto this rotation. He checks tablet and doesn't push out. Etch doesn't go fast enough, so Shot's gonna have time, and he's gonna peek the corner. Etch IDs that, puts out shots towards Shots. Shot swings out, and Etch locks in map 1 for Kai, 4-2. A nice play from him that ends up in a double, and ultimately Kai on top. Where do we go from here? I think that was HFA's map pick, so Kai gonna go now into a big advantage.
Yeah, let me take a look. I want to see. I'm going to look at their stats real quick and see what the likely picks are here. Let's see.
I miss USS Quest. Teams have not been selecting in this map pool rotation. It's really interesting to see. I think maybe squads have gotten used to the map and they've learned new strats, and teams are afraid of it. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen it scooped up since it's been introduced in this map pool.
It's true. I think a lot of people, again, just the same reason people are banning Quarantine. There's just so much uncertainty in that map.
Yeah.
There's so much randomness. It's a very small map. Lots of stuff can happen very quickly. People just don't want to take that risk and lose out on MMR for it. So looking at their stats at the moment, it looks like... Okay, so they have the highest round win rate on Bazaar, but that's only been played once. I think the next likely candidate's going to be Suburbia, if I were to guess. But I'm not sure. Quarantine would have been next, but that was banned. So yeah, my official guess is going to be Suburbia.
Okay. Well, you're wrong, because we are remaking the lobby, which is an indicator that we are headed to USS Quest. If I was a guessing man, if I was a betting man, but oh, speaking of, let me give the outcome to the not so surprised Kai voters. A heavy dose of channel points invested in Kai there, and ultimately they are correct on predicting that. Let's see, am I right on it being USS Quest? It is. No, it's Suburbia. Huh.
Yeah, I suspect they changed it because the clock was actually running at 5 minutes for that whole map. I would expect that they noticed that and wanted to rehost with 6 minutes. That would be my guess.
Wow. Interesting. That. Yeah, CPAS bringing that up in Twitch chat. You can play technically with. If both teams agree, you can do a lot of things. You can play on maps that aren't in the map pool. If both teams agree, I think it would be okay to play 5-minute rounds if both teams agreed. It's not going to disqualify that round from being anything. If anything, I would say it impacted Kai more. They lost a round off of time there, so for them to still take that map is certainly something. But yeah, that's. I did not notice that, and yeah, it's probably why. We'll see if we do have 6-minute rounds here, or if maybe we're just playing a 5-minute round series today. Who knows?
I did get a message from Captain on Hell from Above, and he said they are hosting because of the timer, so we should get 6-minute rounds on this map. This is for sure Kai's territory in the sense that Kai has been around for a long time, and the people that make up Kai, whether they've been on Kai specifically or not in the past, They've been on all kinds of teams, even go all the way back to Mob Squad. These guys are good at Suburbia. Like, they played it for years, literally years, and they know this map very, very well. So if I was Hell from Above, I would be concerned about facing Kai on this map.
Taking a look at the rosters, we are seeing a sub coming in for Kai there. Semper being brought in. You want to talk about experience and map knowledge. Semper is certainly a player that has it with a map like Suburbia.
Yeah, I believe Edge told me a while ago he just surpassed something like 4,200 hours in Onward.
Insane.
So this is a guy that's got a lot of time in this game.
Yeah, for all the casting I've done, I don't even rival those hours closely. So that is really just a lot of dedication to playing this game and mastering its craft. There's a high skill threshold that continues to, like we said, grow ever increasingly more and more each season, it seems. You know, the gap between season 10 and 11 skill is, in my opinion, way more than it has been between other seasons. I feel like teams have really substantially jumped in skill this season, and it's been really fun to watch.
No doubt about it. I will say the one offset here is that a lot of the newer teams, they put a lot of reps into Suburbia, because when you're brand new to this game, it's much easier to think about. It has these very well-defined lanes. You only have a couple of spawn points. So I've noticed, at least with a lot of the newer teams and newer players, they get really good really fast on Suburbia. So this will be another one of those old school versus new school kind of tests in my mind.
Yep. Into the action we go, starting off with Kai on offense, Hell from Above on defense, and Kai rolling out quiet and focused as they make their attack quickly here up onto this west side.
And a pretty standard defense on the part of Hell from Above.
Mm-hmm.
Wookie Oreo just deployed some C4 on this white fence, lane 1. I just realized I did not have that. So on camera 2, the C4 on the white fence on lane 1. Apologies for that. But yeah, just waiting for somebody to get near and maybe pull that trigger. I don't remember if the C4 will go through the fence or not. I guess we'll find out.
They also obviously have Havoc in that advanced position. It's on the hunt for it, and now they've ID'd it. Takes the shots, and Phonic Semper, his position blown for Havoc. He's going to have to get out of here, or I guess just try and fight the whole team as they make their approach. Flashes, nades, lots of utility coming in here. Phonic does have Havoc blind, and he does push in, but Havoc comes out of the blind as Phonic makes it. That's 1. Finds 2, can't find any more. He goes down in a trade, but a 1 for 2 is a successful defensive hold.
No doubt about it. Anytime you can trade 2 for 1, you take it. At that point, you have done your job. When Engage and Shot and Frame about to run into each other in the playground, and that's a trade, but Engage still alive. Etch is going to come back to the playground and get that revive, bring it back to a 3v3.
Two red.
Yeah, the 3v3 definitely makes this more viable for Kai. They certainly didn't start off good. That 1 for 2, not how you want to kick things off. But managing to claw these kills back. Etch could swing wide and go for some hunting down in the north, but I wonder if there's any utility left on any of these players to try and smoke or push up towards that objective.
That's a good question. And Semper creeping along in lane 1. Hoping to catch somebody on that white car. Dalish is there, but he's just not visible from Semper's position yet. Checking that porch as well. He takes out Doc, but Dalish with the instant refrag.
1 for 1 keeps things even. I doubt that Kai's going to revisit the north side. Maybe Etch will peek out. Engage gets taken down. A peek out there. Coming in from Dalish, and Dalish's position doing work here. And I like it, actually. He's got that solid cover in a position that normally doesn't really provide it to you. He's on the other side of that berm and also tucked in behind that white car. It's a pretty solid little spot to be. Oftentimes you see people get it behind the white car, not necessarily behind this concrete, but I mean, look at it now as it saves its life.
Once again, it's Etch in a 1v2. He's fortunate he has an LMG, so he's not going to run out of ammo anytime soon. Ooh, and he gets the pick on Wookiee. A little surprised Wookiee was going to do that. They really just had to wait for Etch at that point. So now 1v1 between Etch and Dalish. And Dalish still seems to think that he's down at lane 4. This could work to Etch's benefit.
Yeah, it could indeed. You can see him peeking through the shrubs here. Trying to get a view through these bushes to see if he can spot out anyone, but Dalish is playing pretty tucked. Gonna be a challenge for Etch to get an angle. He's really gonna have to find a knee or an elbow or something.
Oh, he sees him. He sees him. There it is, through the hedges. Once again, Etch with a clutch.
The 1v2 and the dab to snag them the round. Shout out to the casting squad as Kai go up 1-0 on map number 2. Trying to run away with this series here. They've got another lead, and it's not looking really good for Hell from Above right now.
No, but it is still winnable.
Yep.
1-0 on this map decider potentially, or excuse me, match decider potentially. You obviously don't like to start a map out like that. You don't want to give away any rounds to a team like Kai, but it's certainly possible they could bring it back, especially if they can get a cap on this round. This is one of the... It's not terribly capable, but if you get some smokes on it and come around through lane 1, it is doable. So in their position, I wouldn't blame them for trying something a little riskier to get those 2 points on the board.
Yeah, I feel like it's been... well, not been a while. You saw it earlier, I suppose, on map 1. The potential for a heavy smoke play is here on both ends. You know, these squads are capable of applying a solid smoke screen and pushing up to objective. It's just a matter of execution. So, curious to see how HFA attacked this. I'd like to see that smoke application, but teams just really have not been opting for it. Despite it being an element that's been back all of Season 11. We've seen successful caps when it's applied, but maybe it's just the challenge of getting your smokes where you want them.
Yeah, there's some of that. I also think a lot of teams maybe are overweighting the value of stealth, because if you throw a smoke, people are going to know where you are. They can just watch the trail and say, okay, somebody's over there. And especially you see multiple smokes, you now know, okay, there's at least 2 or 3 people over here. So I think some teams are just feeling a little cautious about that, but that's just pure guess on my part. I'm not sure.
No, it is a great point, and I think it's a strategy that was only discovered out of Season 10. You know, I don't think players would be opting for that at all if we didn't have a period of time where nobody was allowed to use smokes, and you had to sort of devise these silent strats.
Yeah, Season 10 really changed the meta in some significant ways because we didn't have that, and we had a 5-minute timer.
Season 11, also doing a lot of changing, and I love it. I like the variety that we've been getting, and it's always one of my favorite talking points to be bringing up. But also seeing a little variety in defense. Base taking that car position I was talking about earlier. The problem is I think you can get clipped from underneath the car. So a real savvy shooter could maybe thread a bullet or two into the side of base, but they're prone and tucked in, waiting for that push to come in from the north.
No doubt
He's
about
dead.
it. And Shot and Frame takes out Engage right away on lane 4. So now their lane 4 side completely open, although Etch is now rotating to lane 3. And Base taking shots from underneath the car. Here comes some smokes from lane 1 plus a flash, and Dallas and Havoc both trying to get onto that position.
Yeah, this is the push coming in. Base fully flashed here. Bayless looking for something, looking for the angle there, trying to find it on the corner. Goes prone and Base IDs that. The smoke nicely covering Havoc, but also obviously that fence there as well. Base not going to put any rounds through it. Havoc's just on the hunt, and the push is coming through. Doc's crossing out. Semper's on a huge swing, and that flank could pay off in spades if he goes for it, but if he takes too long, there's cap potential. Base shuts down Wookiee on the corner. Doc finally catches out Base. Semper on the long rotation. A team kill comes through, and there's chaos on the battlefield. We're into a 1v1. Havoc could push.
Oh, but Semper needs to be very careful here. If Havoc puts 2 and 2 together and realizes there's one defender left and he's flanking, yeah, he's taking it too slow. Semper's going to come up behind him. I sincerely doubt he's expecting this. Oh, but Semper's not watching him either. Oh, he's going to get that.
Right.
Yep.
Really nice little play coming in there from Havoc. You heard the sigh of relief from him. Hell from above, able to keep this one close. They do not want to let this map run away from him like map 1 did.
No, and Hell from above saying, we may have lost that first map, but we're still in this fight.
Yeah.
They are not going to make it easy for Kai, that's for sure.
Yeah, next objective shifts us to the opposite side of that street. I feel like I haven't seen this objective in a long time. I don't know why it is, but I feel like it's been a while since we've been onto this. Red car OBJ in the north, and yeah, I liked the play that came in, but one thing I noticed too that players still do is they apply those flashes and those in the smokes and then don't necessarily move off of them. You know, they had Base completely blind on the other side of that car. If they had just committed to pushing out from the other side of the Humvee to go for the kill, they would have had an easy one.
Yeah, I've noticed that pattern too. I'm not really sure how to explain it because I know if I throw a flash, I'm doing it because I want to put a move on somebody.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe there's some other strategy I'm unaware of.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the point of those coming out was without the push to come through with it, but almost worked out for him. Was down to a 1v1, and it did. So we're now tied up. We go back to the defense, and this time we're trading Marsoc rounds. That's what you get when you shift to a close quarters map like Suburbia, though, from Snowpeak. a little a different meta style to it.
For sure. And obviously on these smaller maps, aggression pays off handsomely in most cases. So it's just a matter of who's going to get in the other's face more effectively.
Round number 3 kicking off here. Kai back on the offensive, and they put together some very good rounds. I expect some semblance of a cap attempt to be put up
Havoc
here,
is
but
already causing
One dead.
causing problems in Playground. And there was only one other offensive player in a position to get a refrag. Etch is now moving into position. But nobody had eyes on that kill. So they just know there's somebody near Playground, but they're not entirely sure where.
yeah, the problem is that's going to probably cost an investment of resources to get him out. You know, at least a flash or something that they wanted to use later to push up, but couldn't, and it's going to end up impacting them. Look at this, the utility coming in. Edge gets caught out. Nades come sailing in. Those go a bit too far. Phonic, fortunate that he doesn't get picked up by that, but Hell from above with a great defensive play there. puts them into a 5v3.
No, and like you're saying, I know the big problem with dealing with flankers like this is you have to dedicate resources. Like, even if you don't get kills as a flanker, just making everybody stop and throw nades and that sort of thing, it's extremely valuable for the defense.
There's a substantial timing impact, and finally, Phonic threads the needle.
Down playground.
Able to get rid of that threat for Engage. Engage can comfortably push in now, and well, comfortably, I suppose, maybe not the right word, as the objective is heavily guarded, but at least he can get up to that building and start to develop some semblance of a plan.
And when you're on that offensive team and you finally pick off that flanker, there's a giant sigh of relief that goes through the whole team. Because, you know, like, oh, okay, now we can keep moving forward, especially if you still have people left. So now Kai gets a chance to recompose themselves. They have 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and they're not far from objective. This is what they tend to be good at, is this kind of encirclement play. Even if they're down a person compared to help from above, this is a good position to be in.
Engage is pushing up, but shots managed to cross out. Engage IDs it and manages to tag the toes as he tries to dip down behind red car. Kai evening things out 3 apiece, and the push getting applied on the opposite side as Base and Phonic do a little bit of damage. Dot goes down. Base is going to commit out. They're looking for the kills here. Kai is going to try and snag another Marsoc round.
This is a really interesting spot on camera too with Dalish in the bushes. I don't know if I've ever seen somebody play this spot before.
He is tucked and camouflaged. Engage finds Wookiee. Dalish all on his own. Catches 2. A huge collateral comes through there, and I don't even know if Dalish meant to get both of them, but does engage the lone attacker now.
I think that was some unfortunate timing. They were lined up. They're not even that close to each other, but they were just lined up perfectly in that moment, and Dalish gets the double. And anything can happen, but I would be very surprised if Engage figures out where Dalish is, because, again, very unorthodox spot that he's using at the moment.
I think this north committal is the right play, but yeah, it's going to come down to IDing him there. I'm going to stay tucked in, and we'll see if Engage will be ready for that. He was kind of close to hear those shots taken. He should at least expect someone on the porch, but to your point, if he's just tunneling on the porch, he's not going to catch that bush position.
And the thing is, so from where he is right now, there's just too much distance. He's not going to see him in that bush.
Yeah.
He could be looking right at him, and unless Dalish moves his gun out of the profile of the bush, I don't think he's going to see him. And Dalish's laser is now looking down to lane 1. Ooh, he sees him. He definitely sees him.
Quick duck down, avoids being tagged. He still can't find him in the shrubs. Finally!
Oh!
The identification comes in. Engage utilizing that nice corner spot we were talking about earlier on defense. Snags the round for Marsoc, but just barely.
Crazy. Yeah, he had his laser on that spot multiple times before he took that shot. Just goes to show you how deep that camouflage is right there.
Fun to see that new innovation come through, and we'll have to see where we go from here. Obviously, we stay on this objective. Kai go on to defense, and yeah, it's got me wondering if we're just going to keep trading Marsoc rounds, or if Kai are going to be able to start to kind of separate a little bit here. Maybe get 3-1, and then who knows where we go with our next OBJ. They very well could have another Marsoc sort of based objective.
Yeah, and the thing that I think would throw everything into a little bit more of a random spiral is if we get one of the new objectives. Because so far we've just had historical objectives, objectives that have been around for a long time. Kai knows how to play those objectives very well. But if we get like the playground objective, or we get the lane 1, I guess you call it the semi-objective, where the semi on its side is, that could change things because it's a totally different play style. It's very fast and kind of randomized because of the spawns. And that, I think, could potentially tilt it maybe a little bit more in Hell from Above's favor. But Kai knows how to play this particular objective, so strong odds in their favor, in my opinion.
Probably see some similar aggression, I would think, on defense coming in from Kai, but I guess it's a benefit to have that variety. You know, maybe they'll play a tight kill box and force HFA in, but something you can't really do easily on a map this close quarters. If enough utilities applied, you can really douse this objective and the approach to it. So again, I'd love to see a nice thorough smoking of the objective and then a push in on it.
Same.
Support you then, I guess, if you're lane 1. And engage. Primarily in lane. Engage. Let me know if they're lane 4. I'll have a C4 yet. Yeah.
Rollout coming in here from HFA. And nothing too crazy on the Kai end. They don't overcommit to any aggression. And really, I would say, a pretty meta defensive layout here. Everyone hanging out in the porches. They got 2 on the opposite side. Nothing really out of the ordinary.
Nope, they just want to build that kill box and force them in. They're playing more conservatively because they want to get to that 3-1 and then close this match out.
This is the start, though, of the chain of smokes. That's actually a pretty good flash. Why was it thrown ago, though, becomes my question. You know, if anything, all it did was give away their position. No, nothing acted off of it.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactic.
Yep.
So Dalish was saying, cap it after the smoke was thrown, and then Edge fired into the smoke to draw it. I guess to basically draw his shots so they could figure out where he is.
This is an aggressive push from HFA, though. Managed to pop out and find one. Etch is on OBJ and can calm out. Shot and frames position should be known. And as they come through and try and rotate, they go down, engage. Suddenly the last one left alive. They have Etch and Semper for comms, so I guess they have okay coverage, but Engage is the only one able to shoot his gun, and Havoc swinging around on the backside looking for that kill.
And Semper's giving callouts. I just heard him say he's going to the backyard. Engage reacting to that information now. He has a clear view of Havoc at the moment. So he can tell Engage exactly what's going on. Although I'm not hearing anything now.
Staying quiet, waiting to see if Havoc commits to an objective push or something.
Yep. So Engage coming around. Havoc hears that, though. Oh, and he wins the trade.
Wow. I just barely holding on, and I like, actually, that, I mean, to the point you were talking about earlier, those plays coming in from HFA are awesome. You know, and I've seen more of this lately, more of the comm baiting. I'm not sure what the trigger has been for it, but, you know, oh, I'm down, come res me, or, you know, but really not like really good baits. Like one that I really liked off of a death was they acted like they were responding to a radio comm. So they died and then said like, yeah, I'm down on the side. He's over here. Like they were responding to someone's comms as if they had died. And, you know, that bait there, like, hey, go cap. We've seen people push through smokes and cap. Like you can follow a smoke pretty well these days. Players have done it to a lot of success, and I think that was the concern there with that call out. So I think the baits are interesting at the very least. It's an element of the game that no other game really has.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And now we're dealing with the burning objective on lane 4. Again, kind of just an objective that's been around for a really long time. I think this once again favors Kai over Hell from Above. Not to say Hell from Above can't win a round on this, but experience really matters in this game. And Kai has who knows how many reps on this objective at this point.
Yeah, very familiar with approaching this. You know, oftentimes this objective is seen as the one you can fast push and smoke and force rotations out on. And so, again, I would expect the smoke push to come through. HFA did a pretty good job of doing that themselves. They had well-placed smokes, but you can really do some damage here if you push in through that playground. And, well, we'll see if Kai can lock in this series here or if we continue on with map 2 as they go on the attack.
We're in lane 4 and 4.
And not really a lot of active comms coming in from Kai there, kind of listening in, seeing what they'll be chatting about strat-wise. Really just focus. Everyone wanting to execute on their plays here, and well, we'll see if they can do that. They've advanced up quickly, no early shots on the cross, and Havoc's in a bit of an interesting spot, I would say. Yeah, Havoc position allows him to actually stay in front of the smokes. Ace catches out Doc 9 on the side. Havoc's going to relocate and catch Edge fully exposed by the bus, but it's left coverage open on the front. Phonics come here. He's tucked in the suppressive fire over the top from Wookie just to make sure nobody was there. Pays off. Wookie botches a nade. Doesn't get it over the edge. Both go down on objective. They have incredibly weak on objective defense, and Semper has an opportunity to push here.
And Base is running into the house to confront Shot. And
There's
there
the
it
trade.
is.
There's the round.
Wow. Yes. There's the match.
The nade team kill, you know? Just the worst possible scenario to have unfold there. They had good control of objective. They properly defended under the smokes. That was exactly what we were talking about with the heavy smoke push being applied there. And they just can't execute. I mean, they do execute. They get the kills, but they just... Oh, that botched nade just throws everything off. And, well... That's the series for Kai. We still obviously play our third map out, and it is going to be on Downfall. The points do matter, as we always say, but still, Kai with a much-needed win here. I think they were ranked 14th, right? Is HFA lower than them or higher?
Let's see. It was 14th and 16th.
Yeah,
with
so
HFA being higher up, so Kai should move up above them now, I would imagine.
yeah, pretty big win here coming in for Kai. I think if I was looking at the MMR correctly, both teams close to pushing up into 1240, maybe 1250. If you get into that 1250 mark in MMR, you're so close with so many other teams right now. I mean, it's like all the way up to rank 7 as 1250 MMR. So there is like 7 down to like 12 or 13. And so, you know, the race here for that, like you said, the top 15 is just crazy. It's so volatile, rankings swapping constantly, and you love to see it. That's the fun of the competitive ladder, and I'm very interested to see where Kai land at the end of this week. They certainly have played well here so far, and if they can execute well on Downfall, it's going to be a nice day for them.
No doubt about it. And let's see. Yeah, I was just looking at the MMR. There are 6 teams with 1250 listed as their
Yeah.
MMR. So
Yeah.
that is a highly contentious little piece of MMR land, so to speak.
Yeah, no kidding. We'll see what the next few weeks hold, but yeah, you got to keep your eye on the ranks. You can check those by going over to VRML.com and click on the standings, go to worldwide, and see where everyone's at. It'll indicate if they're on the EU or NA bracket and everything you need right there. Seeing if we're having any subs come in here. Doesn't look like it. Both squads sticking to what they have, and you know, even though HFA is lost, it's not necessarily a time to give up and throw a practice round in. They still want to lock in at least one map. This is their map pick as well, so it's the best chance they'll get to get some points back from Kai.
Yeah, this is, I've talked about this on cast before, but this is really the test of character for a team, because I'm sure you've seen it too, but there are teams, even high-ranking teams, who once they've lost the match, they just start throwing, and it's just obvious that they're not trying to win anymore. They're demoralized, and they just want it to get over with. But the best teams are the ones that fight tooth and nail for every single map, no matter what happens. And on the flip side, too, if they win the first 2 maps, there's also kind of this tendency for a lot of teams to loosen up and then lose the third one because they're not concerned about the win or loss. But yeah, the best teams, they care about every map. They want the 3-0 on every single match.
Into the action we will descend soon enough. Map number 3 could be certainly interesting to tune into here. The range, an element that's worked well for Kai, you know, and I was thinking close quarters would be the solution for HFA, but with Kai picking into Suburbia and doing so well there, I'm not sure. Either way, into the action we go. Map number 3 kicking off. No subs coming in. And we are starting with a tried and true objective, one that I think I've seen capped on as much as any other objective that can be capped here. So with a quick spawn from HFA, there's some real potential for a very early attack coming in from this Marsoc team.
And Wookie Oreo just launched a drone. Well, they're going to take shots from spawn anyway, so don't have to worry about giving away their spawn at this point.
Yep.
Anything
I
you
believe
see
that's a
what-
-1. I don't know if I killed him or not. It's too dark in that room.
Yeah, just let us know if they've.
And on camera too, you can see the drone just floating around, checking out all these spots, likely identifying Phonic at this point. Not sure what else he would be seeing. Everybody else, well, I guess Engage also out in the open in front of lower red truck. But other than that, everybody nice and tucked in.
Yeah. That's how you got to defend on downfall. The nice solid kill box always works best. I'm interested about Engage's position here, though. He's essentially exposed to a good chunk of that south side of the map. If they lose control there, which they don't seem to really have any eyes on other than Phonic, if they lose Phonic and lose control of the south, his position becomes a little bit riskier, and he maybe recognizes that as he tucks even tighter back in there, so no longer will be able to be shot. I'm not sure what the reasoning would be for being up against that wall, but tucks himself back in, and the rest of this rotation continues to unfold. HFA sending 3 down there in the south, 2 up in the north. The split continuing to develop and is quickly identified. The problem is, though, now that those shots are taken by Phonic, that position can be quickly ID'd as well. I mean, it's a common defensive spot, as is the spot that's being shots are being taken from deep in the back. Doc9 even checking that window, hunting for any sort of picks there, but Etch not exposing themselves quite yet.
This is, I think, another map where it's just going to be a big experience advantage for Kai. Because if you have a team that knows how to play defense on downfall very well and you're giving them Volk on the first round, you're fighting an uphill battle.
Yeah.
I got an extra.
I'm a little surprised HFA picked this, but maybe they have a counter strategy in mind. I'm not sure. And, you know, we're not even through the first round yet, so maybe it'll end up being a win for them. We'll see.
I'm gonna
All right,
die from this push right here.
I think the most important thing is to have fun playing. A little high five coming in there between Havoc and Doc. They're still enjoying their time playing. They're still trying to just play competitively. That's the fun thing about this game. It's just so dang fun to play at a high level and a competitive level. Just try and better the enemy team with your skill and strategy and coordination. It's there's nothing that feels better when it all comes together, but certainly not coming together here for HFA as another goes down. Etch finding those kills with the LMG through the smoke. Dalish able to rotate off of a round, and Havoc pillaging as the clock ticks ever so slowly down. 2:50 left.
Yeah, with 3 left on this objective on downfall and 2 minutes to go, this is tough, man. This is really tough.
It's gonna be like, it's gonna take a very big highlight play from several players, because they're gonna need to root out some positions in windows on the move, essentially. Now as Havoc goes down, there's only 2 left to even execute this plan. Dalish may try and rotate for the res. That's a risk. They still never got rid of Phonic. Even after the first kill he got on that Blackhawk, they weren't able to root him out, and he's got himself another there, and Dalish really can't move. Oh, that's a great smoke.
Yeah, I think that should be sufficient for the res. And there it is.
Really good application there. Some players ought to go for the short smoke. I've always been an advocate of throwing the smoke at your enemy. You end up, in some cases, covering more space. Wookie able to ID Phonic inside there. And Phonic now getting closer and closer to being pinched. Problem is Etch is still here on the south, and that's really the key linchpin there for defending Phonic's position.
And the first defender goes down, but they've got 54 seconds left.
You guys focus on front.
Interestingly enough, they do have a lot of weakness on this south side.
Yeah.
If Etch can't catch them,
Yeah.
that's open. That is wide open.
They can cap from inside too, right? This is the objective they can get. So Etch has to watch this. 30 seconds left. Engage isn't going to catch across there onto that backside. They have to commit to the backside cross, but no one's moving. 25. No one's going still. The timer's there. They have to move. They're not even going to have enough time to get the code if they get there.
Yeah, they need to be on objective right now. And Semper is now rotating to cover that. 13 seconds left. Barring a miracle. Yeah, there it is.
Good solid hold there from Kai. HFA tried to put something together but couldn't quite get into the positions they need to. And ultimately, Phonic really shut down the south push. Although he actually doesn't get any confirmed kills. Etch is the one that ends up picking up everyone in the south. I feel like he did a lot to down 2 key downs on their crossing and really just stalled stalled HFA from pushing out.
Yeah, this is just one of those maps where, again, the experience really matters, and a lot of that comes down to timing, on offense in particular. So if you're going up against a team that's been around forever, that knows how to play defense, and you don't have just crisp timing on your offense, you're going to get torn apart. Anybody that's played beginners on this map knows what that's like.
Yeah.
And, you know, all these teams that have been around for a while, they know how to play this map. So you better come with some good counter strategies, and you better know how to take a Marsoc round, otherwise you're in for a long night.
waiting for firing up this next round. Surprised that we are still taking as much time as we are between rounds, but I maybe trying to orchestrate something here. Etch clearly forming strategies on the fly as you hear the comms. Players asking Etch where they want him to go, and I guess to the point it comes down to where they do spawn. And just to see how different the spawns are. North was where Hell from Above spawned here. Opposite side of the map is where Kai kick it off, and it's a completely different style of approach on this objective.
Already they're putting shots on defenders, and they lose Dalish with less than 10 seconds off the clock. That always hurts, although on defense you can afford to lose a person, because there is so much open space that has to get covered by the offense, but it's never good to lose somebody early, offense or defense.
Yeah, if anything, it's a death for information. So they know now the spawn, they know to focus their attention here to the south. The problem is that it could kind of be the plan, right? To initially kick it off loud and then send one over to the north or something like that, but Kai is not doing that. They are all focused here down in the South Ravine currently. Maybe eventually they'll get one to rotate over there into the north, but they've really now just kind of put themselves into a space where they're going to be suppressed.
Valley push, guys.
It looks like they're going to make that cross to lower dumpster, put some smoke on. I'm surprised they didn't smoke the cross itself. And Havoc almost picks off fine.
Lower dumpster's dead, man. Got him. He was moving a.
I think Doc 9 just killed someone by turning his gun upside down and shooting it. I don't know what I was seeing there, but I think he was limiting his exposure and clearing the barrel over the top. Crazy, but gets the kill, and well, Kai are also having a tough time pushing up here. Havoc tries to look for something, but can't, and fortunate that he wasn't tagged there. Does get Phonic through the window. Base picks one up over in the north. That could actually be bigger than this defense for Havoc. If Havoc focuses here, that north defense could be weak, and you can see the push being applied there as Base gets closer.
And Havoc gets taken out by Semper. And now it's Doc 9, so there's a big opening here coming from the south. Question is, can they group up and coordinate well with the time that's left? 3 minutes, 42 seconds left on the clock.
I killed one.
They actually have decent coverage if you think about it for this duo. They have Wookiee there watching the back entry. You know, despite where he can also cover the north, he is still watching the entry into the basement. Almost because he gets sighted in and picked up from the roof there by Engage, but he can cover several different spots here, and so it's a pretty good position for him to be in. Doc 9's the front point man, and Wookiee's just trying to look for anything over the shoulder.
Engage has a 4x, so he should be able to see through those windows the moment Wookiee decides to expose himself.
He's fighting himself in a very tight spot.
Because he did. No, he's not.
Hearing shots over there is also certainly information. You can see now he has a little bit more attention dedicated over there. Doc 9 is able to get rid of Base, and so his focus can go elsewhere as well.
There's a guy on the north side.
Yeah, both of these defenders have sort of variable angles they can be
South side.
watching.
I got shots from south side.
Doc 9 watching more towards the north right now. If they approach from the south, there's potential to get a cap on the front side more than anything, because that south side entrance, or excuse me, the west side entrance is being watched pretty closely by Wookiee. But if they could get around the helicopter, there's a pathway there for a cap, and Doc 9 would not be able to stop them. I guess unless he threw a grenade out or something.
The trouble is, if you think about how the defense was set up for Hell from Above, or excuse me, Kai last round, it was very heavily focused on protecting the outside. So maybe they're a little bit worried about applying the pressure there. Doc9 being the last one alive.
Yeah, but there's more than just Guy on North Hotel still alive, so focus on my ass, don't peek him.
I think they're probably just going to pick him off, but maybe they're going to wait a little bit. They still have 1 minute and 20 seconds. This is potential cap.
Stop churning.
I don't know if they know they got Wookiee Oreo down. I wasn't near Engage when he made that shot, so I don't know if he communicated that he killed somebody. But Phonic's going in. Phonic's going in for a cap.
Yeah, Doc hears it and drops down. Phonic is going to have to be very quick about this. Can't get it in time, and Doc is able to defend. Now, to your point, the front completely open. Our Semper can walk right up here and punch in this code. He hasn't quite done it yet. Doc9 is going to swing out and actually tags our Semper. A huge defensive play coming in here. Leaves Engage way out in the open to come sprinting down here. But is this going to work if Doc...
Well, Wookiee Oreo's down.
Yeah, Wookiee has to be calling this out. Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. He has to know he's coming.
Yep, he does. The pad's there. Engage is able to dip around. He's going to go for the code still. He gets it!
Wow! What a fast cap. Unbelievable. I thought for sure he was about to get killed. Crazy.
Even Doc yet saying, what a cap there at the end. That, to commit to that and get it. He must have been entering it as he ran. You know what I mean? Like, as he got into the zone of the objective, he's punching it. He got tagged on the side, but then had 2 or 3 numbers already in, so he kept committing to entering in that code. And wow, that's the value of practicing caps and being efficient at caps. You can do plays like that.
That was some grade A spice right there, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, like you said, he must have been entering that code or memorizing it way ahead of time, whatever. But, yeah, just like you said, just the commitment. Because he had to know he was there. He was getting shot at. And he just says, nope, I'm going to put my head down and give this a shot. They've already won the match. And if they drop 1 round, it's not that big of a deal. But the payoff is huge if you get it in. So why not? Yeah, just incredible play right there. That's all I have to say about it.
Quite a series to be tuning into today. A really good bit of back and forth. Despite the scoreline, HFA have put up a good competitive battle here, but Kai have just been executing so well. That's what's put them up on all of these rounds, and now has them up 3-0 on Downfall. I mean, it was close on Snowpeak for a bit there. You know, the back and forth, I was really thinking we just trade Volk rounds, we go to a 3-3, but Kai doing a really good job of just riding this momentum, and they go to an objective that I think is pretty standard on defense. If anything, the kill box defensive strategy here works very well.
This is one of the best kill box defensive objectives, in my opinion. So, yeah, they just need to sit back, not expose themselves, not do anything crazy in terms of rotations, and they should be able to lock this down for a 4-0.
Into the action we go. Etch.
I switched to Engage because we'd both be looking at the same angle.
Taking up that red truck position, a position that I've seen become more and more common season 11. Pretty nice. You can shoot underneath it. Has good coverage. And with those shots out, you could hear Etch call out the spawn, so they know now where this HFA squad's coming from, but they are pretty spread.
Southeast.
And Help from Above taking a lot of shots from their spawn. So now the entire defense can orient to where they are.
With a defense like this, it's actually, when done, well, I don't know, they are kind of peeking. They're not really looking for a late kill box. It's a pretty aggressive search right now. Maybe they're feeling like they can go for this because they are up 3-0. But, you know, a good solid kill box defense doesn't really expose themselves in those windows. You just stay tucked in and wait for the push to come to you, but they're looking. Engage is looking for picks out there. Etch is too, over the wall.
Yeah, just putting eyeballs east in a situation like this for sure not characteristic
good.
of the kill box. And Etch
you
on the
make it?
road, too, right behind
good?
the red car. That's for sure not kind of the traditional kill box position. And Shot and Frame getting right next to Phonic and Base. Don't know if they've heard him yet. Ooh,
Oh,
and
no.
Dallas team kills Havoc.
I wonder. Maybe this is part of the plan. Try and sneak in here. He's got to be ready for Phonic on the corner. Just get the trade. But that leaves everything up over to the south bush. These three from HFA have to execute.
Yeah, and because of that team kill, now they are at a disadvantage, 3v4. Still have plenty of time to work with. 3.5 minutes roughly. Not the end of the world. Ooh, but that is going to make things more challenging.
Only 2 now to duke it out for HFA. Ayla's trying to find anything through the windows, and Wookie. Wonder if there's a route he could take where he could kind of go up through the center there. I think you'd run into the least amount of resistance, actually, if he did.
They're going to start feeling the time pressure now.
Yeah.
They're getting down to roughly 2.5 minutes. Again, not the end of the world yet, but especially Dallas needs to get a move on. And he's about to run into the strongest section of the defense.
Church. South Church, sorry.
Been identified and called out. A lot of attention is certainly shifted here, though. Wookie's still working his way up relatively undetected. 2:15 left to do something here, too. I think he could silently thread his way up there to objective. Everyone's so focused here on Dallas on the south.
Agreed. If Wookie Oreo can find a way to get kind of through this wrinkle in the north, he could get on objective before anybody could do anything about it. Question is he going to anticipate Base's position? Well, he's running now. Base should have audio cues about him. Yeah, he's reorienting himself to look out that doorway because he's expecting Wookie to come. There it is. Wookie is dead now, and it's all up to Dallas. 1.5 minutes. I think we're looking at the final point of the match.
I would think so, too. He's going to try and smoke out that angle and push in. Etch. Still tight here, and I do like the rotation. This is exactly the kind of the weak coverage point I was talking about. Problem is he commits inside here, so now Semper should hear this. Tries to find the kill there through the two-story. I like the play, but no one's there. 55 seconds now. He doesn't have a ton of time to work with, but he's pretty close.
And I don't think he's going to be ready for Semper's position if he decides to run out that west side of the hotel. Really his only, well, now Base has reoriented himself too. He's got a whole bunch of defenders watching all the exits aside from the one on the east side, which isn't going to help him very much. 25 seconds now. And here he comes. He's going to have to make a run for it. He has no other choice.
Yeah, had to get Etch and Semper, really, but properly defended there from Kai. Locks in the final round of map 3 and ultimately all 3 maps of the series. Kai with a dominating performance here this afternoon. Take away several points. A 12-3 ultimate victory there at the end of the day, and a fun one to tune into, Theta. Just really a good performance from Kai.
Agreed. And like I was saying before, taking a loss at this level is nothing to be ashamed about. I don't personally pay that much attention to score lines either when something like that happens. This is You know, you're at this level of competition. You're dealing with the best in the world, and everybody's going to take L's up here. So, good game to both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Super fun to tune into. And a quick shout out to everyone tuning in today. We do appreciate all the folks that popped by, and all the new followers that have followed lately, and the obvious subs coming in that support us and the casting team. It is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Also, make sure you're going and following the Twitter if you want to know when games are going to be going live, and also updates on all sorts of fun league-related activities. You can follow all of the Twitters, Echo Arena, the VR Master League main, and Onward by going over to Twitter and checking that out. And with that, we will be signing off. Shout out to all our sponsors. My name has been NightFiree with 2 E's, my co-caster Theta. We will see you all tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST over at twitch.tv/VR Master League for another Venues broadcast. It's going to be another high-octane, high-tier battle between Mayhem and Strive Gaming. You're going to want to tune into that one. 2 teams battling it out, trying to get into that top 8, trying to break through. So, going to be pretty hype. Going to be a fun one to watch. Be sure to catch that live. And we will see you all then tomorrow, again, 5 p.m. PST at VR Master League on Twitch.